Hello.
Hey guys, how you doing?
So, here it is, the new training that you've all been waiting for, and it's a slightly different one. It's more of a bit of a welcome to the new members, a little bit of creating air around stuff we've already done, and a little bit of direction about what's coming up as well.
Yeah, we really wanted to kind of touch base with you guys because obviously some of the content that we've been sharing, I know it's not a great deal so far, but some of the content's quite deep. So we want to give you guys a little bit more clarity in any areas that you may have any confusion about, but also Sam just mentioned we want to give you some air. So if you haven't seen that air post already, we're going to be talking about that a lot. In Mastering You for as long as you stay in, basically. So this is attention, intention, and repetition. So what we're doing really, to give you guys, some air, if you like, is giving you some repetition here. In particular, and definitely some attention around some of the concepts and ideas that we already talked about. And just so you know, firstly, for particularly, and a big welcome to any of you new guys who just recently joined the group. One of the big ideas around this group and setting it up, Mastering You, is really revolved around coming from LPT. So we are big believers in taking a whole you approach towards your health, what we call our triple H formula, which is health, happiness, and high performance. Because too often people just think it's really a case of just that one aim is where they will gain the happiness. So they think it's just stepping on the scales, or whether it's completing a marathon or whatever it is. So what we're really looking at is the whole picture, the whole approach. And obviously a big focus on that is starting with a thing that isn't talked about enough, which is mindset, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And just going back quickly onto Matt's point about air, something we've discussed a lot of, because I've been coaching people now for a very long time, and I also get coached, and it's very simple to start to understand, well, if I just start doing everything I know, I'll get results. But that's not always the case because life happens, things, circumstances change. So the big thing that we wanted out of this group was a place that we can all get air around the things that we need to keep improving on. So we want to keep giving you new bits of content about the brain science, because believe me, there's loads to come. But we want you also to actually start to implement some of this. And implementation comes from getting air, comes from getting reps, comes from giving it the attention and intention to really start taking action on what we're talking about. So that is one of the big drivers behind this group. And that's what we're really looking for. We really want to start creating discussions between all of you guys and us as well, for us to understand what you need to get yourself to where you want to be in really starting to master you.
Yeah, and basically, in terms of doing that, the vehicle that kind of runs this whole shebang is self-awareness, or what we call in our main program the self-upgrade approach. So, understanding self, and it sounds a little bit kind of, I know, airy-fairy or whatever, but if you think about your own self-talk and the things and the common sort of barriers that people talk about all the time in terms of, oh, I haven't got the motivation, or I can't believe I ate that sort of pot of Haagen-Dazs, or I don't know, I can't stick to my diet. People are constantly telling themselves of the reasons they can't do X, Y, Z, and this is really a great example of understanding self, because if we can understand why that is, that we keep doing those things, we keep taking those actions that really don't always serve us, then that suddenly gives us loads of control. And also, if you have watched the first training, if you haven't watched the first training, I highly recommend that you watch that, the 4 C's. And a couple of those C's, the important ones, obviously clarity is one of them. But what we are ultimately trying to arm you with is certainty of self. Okay, so again, sounds a little deep, but ultimately certainty of self just means understanding you, understanding what you're about, what's important to you, and again, why you do the things that you do. And this arms us then with more confidence, and then you've got the confidence and the clarity and the certainty to go about your life with less anxiety, less stress, to do the things and achieve the things that you want to do. That's really the whole big idea, in case you're still a little bit fuzzy on that.
Yeah, so far we've had the trainings of the 4Cs, which we definitely recommend watching in that order. Then Meet Your Brain, and then coming next, which will be next week, which you've already finished and worked on, is threat. Understanding threat. What happens when we go into what we deem threat from a brain science perspective. And this is a brand new training, because we obviously, as Matt mentioned, we've got the self-upgrade program as well, but we've created brand new trainings for this group separate to that. So it's slower, easier to break down. Something which you'll understand why we've done that when we go into the video on threat, because threat comes from things happening too fast, too slow, or unclear intent. So we've really switched around a lot of the content here to make it as easy to digest as possible. So really excited to drop that one for you next week. And finally, before we jump off, we have a task for you. So obviously we want to hear from you. What we want to hear is, what is your one biggest takeaway from the Mastering You group so far? We really want you to comment below on this video, and we'd really appreciate your feedback. We want to get it from, if everyone can drop what their biggest takeaway is within the group, that would be amazing. As a little added bonus, if you could also put in there what you want to see more of, or what you want to see some of, that would be amazing. So there we go. That's it. That is the new training for this week. Less of a training, more of sort of a general going over clarity, so you know what you're doing and you know what's coming. And yeah, that's it. Thank you very much, and we'll see you very soon.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, guys.